Michelle Lang on Oh Brother podcast.
Today on the show, we had the pleasure to interview actress Deborah Baker Jr. So we have on the show today Jamie Chambers, who's an actor, producer, jack of all trades in the industry. We had the pleasure of interviewing Johnny Durango, who's a well-accomplished cinematographer, director of photography, an interview with Cindy Busby. And we're given the gift of having the Nelms brothers on the Oh Brother podcast feature an interview with director Kevin Lewis.
What's funny is the last day of shooting with him. I had one more day after him, but the last day of shooting with him, and it was the day we shot the Willie fight. At lunchtime, he went into the main dining room and hung out, and he signed every cast and crew's thing, whether it be a poster, a DVD, Blu-ray, took pictures, whatever. He took his time, and there was a line wrapped around the set.
I can imagine.
And he did that for everyone.
That's awesome. Your favorite, of all these series and things that you've done, even the films, I guess, like what so far stands out? What's been your favorite piece of work?
I think it's so hard. The 3 seasons I did on Stand Against Evil were so special. That character was so much fun. Plus we got to shoot in Atlanta, and it was like summer camp every summer, just going. There's something so cool about going to a place and shooting, and really being able to like I could dive into it. I didn't have to worry about coming home and like this and that and life. Mm-hmm. You could really just be there with your castmates, which I was.
What have you enjoyed, the most in terms of, given all the hats that you're wearing related to Everyone Is Doing Great? What really gets you jazzed up when you're on set? Like which hat?
So, wow, that's a tough question. I don't know that anybody's ever asked me that. I love both shooting and producing. For me, this one was a little more interesting on the shooting end because I tend on the features since prior to Lost on Purpose. I think 2010 was the last time I operated on a feature. I've got an incredible Steadicam operator, A-camera operator, a guy by the name of Jess Haas. Mm-hmm. And I found some really great B-camera operators along the way, like this guy, Mike Black, who did Small Town Crime with us in Utah. Mm-hmm. And I generally sit behind the monitors and consider myself the guardian of the image, and I'm on headset with my grip and electric teams.
But I had to do martial arts for it. That was like part of the role. So I did the initial audition and got to the callback, which was at the National Wushu Training Center. And at the callback, they just wanted to see if they cast you, if you could, learn martial arts fast enough to kind of, do a good job at the role. So I met Coach Eric Chen there, and oh my gosh, the training from the callback, I was like, this is awesome. Like,
great project. So yeah, that was actually one of my first forays into horror in that sense. And it was one of those where completely right place, right time, right moment. I was talking with MJ, who's an absolutely amazing director. And I'd done a film called Estate, and after Estate, I did Beyond Redemption, which was borderline horror, but not quite, more thriller. And Andy Gilbert was speaking with MJ, and they were like, "Oh, we just done this stuff for this guy, but he's 30 or 29, 30. I look old anyway." But, MJ was like, "Yeah, but I'm looking for a 60-year-old guy." And so I phoned MJ, and I did a quick little tape, and they were like, "You can fight, you can act, but you're like 30 years too young." But
the building they were in when we went down there 20 years ago. And so we go down there, and I remember just like walking in the Gersh, and like there's no secretary. So we just walk in, we're looking around, and we're like, "Hello?" And now you walk in, 25 people hit the door. You can't get 2 steps outside the elevator without being accosted by half a dozen people. "Who are you? What are you here for? What are you doing here?" Well, then we just walked in, and we're just looking around the vacant halls, and we started yelling down the office. Like, we're like, "Hello?" And then some guy stuck his head out and was like, "Who are you? What's going on?" And we're like, "Hey!"
Pushed him.
And we just attacked. And we did.
That's the only advice that I can give anyone who wants to be an actor is to, well, 2 things: get into a class because you're just surrounded by that world, but just get out there. Because I feel like the universe has brought so many helpful people into my orbit. And when I look back, it's really cool to see who led me to what. Yeah. And Yeah, and I think it's just about showing up and being a good person and being a talented, having skill too, and doing everything you can in your control, and then, you know, meet those cool people along the way and seize those opportunities. It's not a normal lifestyle, that's for sure.
So we're all tired, like how, like just trying to like do our best. And like my audition didn't go that great. I had like a girl, like when you dance and you're like in a, say 4 people are going at the same time, you have a window, you have your own window, and then you got to move together, right? Like this.
Right.
And the girl in front of me just kept wanting to like kind of cover me up, and she was getting super, super, super close. And then there was like this fan kick moment. She hit me in the face with her leg. Like it was not a cute situation. I don't even know if like
the famous W.C. Fields quote of, you know, never work with children or animals, and you've done all of that in your career.
I really have. I really have.
Would you give that same warning having done that?
Honestly, I would say for the most part, animals, typically the ones that find themselves on set, are probably more skilled than most actors.
Well, that's going to do it for another episode. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith, and we will see you next time.